prime time. This is victory. We are the chosen ones. We're making history. We'll show you what we got. Give everything we have. Every sweat, blood, and tear. Every last breath. We put up a fight until the last man, until the last day, until our last dance. We are here, giving everything and more. To seize the opportunity, you know that we will score. This is victory.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the Norisring Sit Rep. It's time for race number 3 of the NXT Gen Cup, and if today is anything like yesterday, oh boy, you're in for a treat. Arguably, Sebastian, who's next to me in the commentary booth, well, it was the best race that we saw yesterday, race number 2. It was the last race here. A lot of people went home already, and let's just say they missed out.
Yeah, I think we had 8 cars going almost 8 wide into the first corner of the last lap. We, of course, had Maxim Dacher, who was last at one point after spinning, up and almost grabbing the win. He then received a 10-second penalty. But yeah, we had an epic race, and the championship leader, Lucas Stiefel, from the Netherlands, took 2 wins yesterday and extended his championship lead. And his closest rival, Philip Dietrich, yeah, he's starting on pole position today.
Yeah, and just to iterate how important that qualifying was, well, 2 days ago now. Oh no, yesterday, excuse me. Yeah, yesterday morning. This session is based, or the grid is based, on the second fastest lap in qualifying from yesterday. And this, again, this qualifying was so extremely important because it set the grid with your second fastest lap for today. And there were some drivers who had, let's say, some horrible races yesterday. Benjamin Mazatis didn't have the best of starts yesterday in race number 1. Did show himself a little better in race number 2, was close to grabbing the victory, got a podium because of that penalty from Maxim Dacher, but Philip Dietrich had 2, well, let's say horrible races. Didn't finish on the podium in either of the 2, got a 10-second time penalty in race number 2 yesterday, and because of that was down in 15th. So a bad race for Philip Dietrich. Lost a lot of points yesterday to this man, Lucas Stiefenhagen, who is starting in P3 today. Then next to him we have Patricia Stalizzana. She was a consistent performer yesterday, grabbed the podium in race number 1. Sadly couldn't grab that podium after contact in turn 1 with Philip Dietrich, who got pushed by Maxim Dacher, which is what got him that penalty yesterday. Because of that, she ended up off the podium. Here is that Maxim Dacher who took the penalty yesterday on the second to last lap of the race, and that's where he needs to go forwards, and that's where he's looking as well for this race. Next to him though, we have the number 19, Alex Gustafsson. Well, another driver who was quite unlucky yesterday, and that seems to be the story of the season for him so far. Unlucky races for him, putting himself in, well, the wrong spot or the wrong position at the wrong moment. Olaf Va, first race for, or first weekend for him in the NXT Gen Cup. A very experienced driver though. Does GT4 Eastern Europe together with also one of our previous drivers, Jonathan Engström. I think he's racing for the first or for the same team there as well as Jonathan Engström. But it's almost time, Sebastian, to get this race going. My name is Dan Peebles in the commentary booth. Next to me is Sebastian Borghardt. It's time to get race number 3 in the last race of the weekend already underway. And like I said before, you're in for an absolute treat if today is anything like yesterday. A little bit more about yesterday then. 3 banks of 3 wide going into turn 1. And no, ladies and gentlemen, this was not the start of the race. This was lap number 12 of 13. And well, where else do you see this really?
Oh, it was a really interesting race, and Lucas Stiefenhagen grabbing both wins yesterday, crucial for his championship campaign. And let's see if he can go for number 3 today, and then equaling the record of Calvin de Groot, who took 3 straight wins at Nürburgring last year. And it seems like we have a car with some issues on the grid. Is it
I think it's Bennett Earl.
Yeah,
I think it's Bennett Earl, who was waving his hands out of the car, still has the door open after the 30-second mark. Yellow flags are waving. We might have a delayed start here, or a formation lap, and taking that off the race distance. But yeah, Bennett Earl still with the door open, clearly arm again out of the window, having an issue. And it seems like they have now notified that. And someone's on his way to go and figure out what's actually wrong, but Bennett Earl with issues before we've even got to the 5 red lights. So start will be delayed, Sebastian.
Yeah, was it probably that the door was too open so he couldn't close it?
Yeah, I think he couldn't reach it.
That was a pretty easy solution.
Yeah, just I think a minute of delay, but we're once again going racing soon. Some drivers using, I think that's Lukas Stiefhagen, yes it is.
Yeah. Keep the door closed.
Yeah. Well, he's using his door for some ventilation.
Yeah.
It's extremely hot once again here. It's been a beautiful weekend, beautiful weather here in Nuremberg at the Norisring. It's once again 24 degrees here at the track, 27.6 degrees track temperature. This isn't such an abrasive surface where you would say that the tires would struggle. These Hankook Ventus TD semi-slicks will not struggle at all. They'll be performing the same way from start to finish of this race. There you go, Patricia Stalizzana also opening her door for some ventilation. I would say with the 1 minute board in the air, keep that door closed. Yeah. You don't want to have the same issue as Bennett Earl had just 2 minutes ago.
You're really tucked in the car, so you can't reach for the door when it's far too open, and that's what's happened to Bennett Earl.
Yeah. So let's hope that doesn't happen to any of our other drivers. Welcome to all of our fans on the screen. That's the international sign of I want to be P1 and intake car 2. We, of course, big thank you to all the fans that have come out to see this race. And let me tell you, this won't disappoint. Like I said, 27.6 degree track temperature. I don't think these tires will struggle too much here. We have the current conditions at the racetrack, and it's beautiful weather to get this race underway, Sebastian. Philip Dietrich starting from pole position. Benjamin Mazat is in second. That's your front row. Lukas Stiefhagen and Patricia Stalizzana, 2 drivers who showed incredible pace yesterday. They're on the second row and chasing the pack in front. Maxim Daga with the penalty he got yesterday dropped down the order. He's in P5. Alex Gustafsson in 6th. The 5 red lights are on the gantry. They're out. We're underway and racing. And it's Philip Dietrich with a good start. Benjamin Mazat is immediately trying to move over to cover off Lukas Stiefhagen, but he's had a tremendous start and he's already up into P2, our championship leader, chasing down P2 in the championship. Philip Dietrich into turn 1, Patricia Stalizzana all the way up the inside. And I have a feeling that she's going to take those positions. She's going to have to give those back up. She does so already on the exit of turn 1. Tried something, didn't work. Back onto the racing line now for Patricia. Nothing that really happened in turn 1. I think the top 3 has kept their positions as they went into turn 1. That's a big moment for Alex Gustafsson. It's rally style, drifting through turn 2. He's used to that obviously with his rally background. I think that was also the orange car of, I think, Maxim Daga, who had a sideways moment coming out of turn 3. It's, I think, Chanter, who's on the back of Patricia Stalizzana. He's had a massive start. Alex Gustafsson's gone past now on Chanter. Has another moment, another rear locking moment going into the last corner of this track, and that was lap 1 only.
Yeah, it seems like the elbows are a bit more out, as this is the last race of the weekend, the last chance to score those crucial points in the championship. We saw also into turn 1, Linda Frey in the Miley car had a big lockup, but she kept the car straight and avoided everyone else, so that's good. And now big fight between Maxim Dacher and Benjamin Masatis.
Yeah, I think looking at the front of the field, it's Dietrich and Stiefhagen. Now, Lukas played the long game yesterday pretty well, even in a race where it was so chaotic. He kept his cool, and because of that, well, got 2 victories. Here's that start again. Great start from Lukas Stiefhagen. Some wheel spin a little bit further back. The Hankook car from Vivianel last to leave the grid. Here's that moment from Patricia Stalizzana. Went up the inside, tried to find some room. There was no room. Gave up those positions on the exit of turn 1 immediately. Knew that that was not the place or the way to take those positions. Oh, there's contact with Benjamin Masatis again. Those 2 not best friends, Benjamin Masatis and Alex Gustafsson. There's the contact. Look at that, 90 degrees sideways, Alex Gustafsson, and managing to keep it pointing the right way, not losing too much time. Patricia Stalizzana, though, closing up on Lukas Stiefhagen and Philip Dietrich. It looks like Philip doesn't quite have the pace that the drivers behind him have. 106.0 from Patricia Stalizzana last time round, 106.3 from the 2 at the front.
And we see that Lukas Stieflagen has a lot of experience on this track now. This is his 7th race, if we count the races from last year. He knows it's all about the waiting game here. The slipstream is so powerful. Yesterday we saw Benjamin Masatis, we saw Olava leading most of the race, but neither of them finished on the podium on track. Benjamin, of course, got the podium later on. So, yeah, playing the waiting game is key here.
Yeah, indeed it is. And Lukas Stieflagen playing that waiting game patiently, but he can't play it for much longer because Patricia Stolizana has closed up to the both of them. She is now, well, I think about a 10th behind Lukas Stieflagen. Alex Gustafsson, it seems like he's struggling a little bit to keep up with the pace at the front. Here comes Maxim Dachado behind him. He's closing up on Lukas Stieflagen now. Will the two work together to catch back up to these two, or is Maxim Dacha gonna leave Alex Gustafsson in the dust and not gonna work together with him at all, trying to go for a move in turn 1? These three line astern, no one really trying anything. They know that this is not the way to at least try and create themselves a gap to the chasing pack behind. Maxim Dacha did what I thought he was going to do. He's leaving Alex Gustafsson behind him, and he's going to chase down himself. Alex Gustafsson does now have the benefit of the slipstream of Maxim Dacha, though. So maybe Alex Gustafsson now smart enough to try and bum draft Maxim Dacha if he gets the chance on the straights. Chanter also P6, a great start for the young German, youngest driver ever in the world to transition from sim racing to real life racing. And well, he's like a fish in water.
Yeah, yesterday he took P5 after the penalties applied, so that's his best position, and he is on course to target that or even make it better here. Chanter now in P6 when we soon will start the 5th lap here at Norisring. Philip Dietrich, Lukas Stieflagen and Patricia Stolizana.
Look at this, a massive slipstream straight, or a massive slipstream train on the straight. Here comes Lukas Stieflagen, though. He knows the urge of getting past Philip Dietrich now. Patricia Stolizana following him through up the inside. She goes. Philip Dietrich being caught out by the both of them. Patricia now up into 2nd, chasing down Lukas Stieflagen. She's been in this position before. She's finished in this position before. Remember, first woman on the podium in NXT Gen Cup. And she's going to look to be the first woman to take victory in the NXT Gen Cup. She's been close multiple times now, missed out slightly on those occasions. Today, she looks determined to make it.
I wonder if it was strategic. It looked like Philip Dietrich was pulling on to the side. Maybe he doesn't want to be first and leading this pack, creating this slipstream for the others. Maybe save a bit of energy, save a bit on the tires to make an attack later on. Also Maxim Dacher locking up behind Philip Dietrich and closing in on the leading pack.
Oh, Bennett Earl touched with CD Högfeldt. Those two were best friends after race 1 yesterday. Those two had a massive fight between those. I think the engineering team laughed afterwards how much they were fighting and how much fun they were having. Here comes Patricia Stolizana, though. Is she going to have a look at the inside of Lukas Stieflagen? She did have a look, though. Lukas Stieflagen doesn't really seem bothered by it. Philip Dietrich, though, with his maybe strategic decision to drop back a little, has now dropped himself into the clutches of Maxim Dacha, who's going to have to carry it around the outside of the chicane, turn 2 and turn 3, and that doesn't quite work out. And look what that does. It opens up the gap now to Patricia Stolizana and Lukas Stieflagen.
And the two yellow chasing cars of Alex Gustafsson and Benjamin Masatis is now closing up on the pack, chasing this 3rd spot. And it looks like Maxim Dacher is making the move on the inside of Philip Dietrich. Yes, he does. Maxim Dacher up to P3 again, chasing his 2nd podium it will be for the weekend after losing it out yesterday.
Yeah, Maxim Dacha, no stranger to the podium, especially after the weekend he had at Oschersleben. But Patricia Stolizana and Lukas Stieflagen, like I said, the two that started on the 2nd row of the grid, they showed really impressive pace yesterday. So I have a feeling if they don't start working together behind them, they're going to leave these two to create themselves a gap. A little bit of rear locking, not too big of an issue though. He's at the limit, Lukas Stieflagen, in every corner, in every session. But Maxim Dacha through turn 1, able to close up that gap. Lucas Stiefhagen maybe breaking a little early, catching out Patricia. So maybe she's going to go for a move here soon. However, this is the part where she was strongest yesterday and on Friday in practice, qualifying and both races. It's that chicane in the second sector of this racetrack, turn 2 and turn 3. That's where she really shines, the exit of it especially. So maybe into the last corner, onto the last lap, she might try something, or maybe earlier on when she sees Maxim Dacha getting closer in her mirror. Philip Dietrich, I don't think it was that strategic. He just genuinely seems to struggle at the moment.
And Maxim Dacher is able to pick up the pace and close the gap to Stiefhagen and Stalizzane. Also, last lap, we saw Benjamin Masatis going past Alex Gustafsson. And now Julian Wirtele going past Alex Gustafsson again. Alex, the luck doesn't seem to be with him this weekend.
No, but it also seems like he had an extremely bad exit coming out of the last corner. It almost seemed like all the drivers around him were using push to pass, and he wasn't. He was like a sitting duck on the straight. So not the best of exits out of the last corner for Alex Gustafsson. Maybe trying to focus on the entry of the corner a little too much. The front three, though, still the same. Still line astern. Maxim Dacha has closed up that gap. He was impressive yesterday, wasn't he? Dropped down to the complete rear of the field, and well, within 12 laps was able to catch back up to the lead battle, and well, was even able to look for a move for the lead. Lucas Stiefhagen, he's under pressure though, looking up those rear tires constantly into both of our hairpins, turn 4 and turn 1. So he is under pressure, and he is feeling that pressure. Here comes Patricia Stalizzane though, with a push to pass, goes past Lucas Stiefhagen, and this is a massive strategic decision. That's one push to pass used onto lap 9 of 13. Her goal will now be to try and break away from those two.
But we have seen this weekend that it's almost impossible to break away in the lead, especially on this track where the slipstream is so important, and also all the cars are equal, running on the same Hankook tires, so it's not easy to get a gap on this track with these cars.
Now that Patricia Stalizzane has gotten past Lucas Stiefhagen, there was a bit of a lock-up into turn 1. However, even with that lock-up, she still set a personal best sector 1. So it seems like Patricia at the moment just has the pace to break away from those two. Look at the gap she's created herself already. This is something that Lucas Stiefhagen was not able to do when Patricia Stalizzane was behind him. Maxim Dacha will now feel the urge, though, to get past Lucas Stiefhagen. The battle for the lead is about to heat up. Philip Dietrich, though, still holding off that chasing pack. Masatis, Wirtele, Gustafsson and Chanter all hurtling behind him like a pack of hornets trying to get past Philip Dietrich, but, well, they're not able to. It looks like Julian Wirtele now using a bit of push to pass. Lucas Stiefhagen once again with a massive lockup. It seems like he does not care about those tires anymore. He doesn't need to use them after this session.
You turn a lot of left on this track as Vivian Earl spins down in the first turn and hairpin. So the left rear tire doesn't get so much contact with the tarmac, actually, because these cars lift up their inner wheel when they are turning so sharply.
Oh, Julian Wirtele 3 wide behind him. He will have no clue what's going on behind him, but Benjamin Masatis is the one who comes out leading that pack. And Philip Dietrich now has dropped down to P6. It's now Gustafsson behind him. Here comes Chanter to the inside of Alex Gustafsson. Will look for a move going into the last corner. That's where he was strong yesterday. Still, though, the lead pack as close as ever. I think it's Stiefhagen pulling to the inside of Patricia Stalizzane now. Those two have to watch out they don't get caught up in too much fighting. Patricia won't be able to move over to the left-hand side. Maxim Dacha will also pull to the inside to try and help Lucas Stiefhagen through. And all of a sudden, instead of leading, Patricia Stalizzane is back down to third. And already having used the push to pass, that's not a great position to be in.
But is it like the Indy 500? You don't want to start the last lap leading.
Well, it definitely seems like that on, well, the evidence of how this weekend has gone so far. Drivers who've led most of this race have not won. Remember, it was Philip Dietrich leading most of the start of this race. Look at where he is now. He's down in P6. That's not where he wants to be. And there's Alex Gustafsson now looking for a move at the inside of Philip Dietrich to Maxim Dacha. With the position that he's in at the moment, looks like he will become the closest rival to Lucas Stiefhagen. That's the 15. And I think the 88 that make contacts, that pits Venazzi and Theo Vida. making contact to his left rear. That was at turn 1, but look, Patricia, there's a bit of a gap, and those two in front of her now working together perfectly. But once again, Lucas Stiefenhagen is there. Could he complete the triple this weekend? The only session, if he wins this one, which he hasn't topped, was qualifying. And I think that's an impressive feat in itself. Was fastest in both practice sessions, was on it from the word go. In practice number 1, of course, was one of the drivers who has had previous experience at this track, and I think that's shining through now. Here comes Benjamin Mazatis to get it with Julian Wörtele. Around the outside goes Julian. Now the inside preferable line through that section. Benjamin, though, sending it wide into turn 2 of the apex. That's going to compromise his exit out of 3. Julian Wörtele will now be able to pull to the inside. Benjamin Mazatis defends that. Meantime, we did see the 10-second time penalty for car 15. That is the car of Theo Vida. Now, of course, that was for the contact in turn 1. Oh, is that a bit of retaliation of what we saw earlier in the race? So, no, it can't have been. It's Bennett Earl who's out of this race after that contact. Left front broken, and that's not pointing the right direction. He's not going to finish this race. Front of the field now, Maxim Dacha has overtaken Lucas Stiefenhagen. Patricia Stalizzana has closed right back up outside of Lucas Stiefenhagen now, trying to keep him busy in the mirrors. Maxim Dacha will love this feat behind him. If those two start fighting, it will only open up a gap to the front. Who's just pushed the pass? Who hasn't? Well, for us in the commentary booth, it's a bit of a gamble. We know that Patricia at least has used one, but do the two at the front have 2 of them left? Coming out of this corner, there's Bennett Earl going slowly. If he crosses the line, at least he will have finished the race, but I think he will pull into pit lane. Well then, last corner of this racetrack. Here comes Lucas Stiefenhagen with the push to pass to the inside of the last corner. Patricia Stalizzana will look to try and play the waiting game inside of Maxim Dacha. Push to pass now on the exit of this corner. Where does Patricia Stalizzana end up? Second, third. It's Lucas Stiefenhagen who's going to win another race. He's going to make it a triple this weekend. Maxim Dacha pulls next to him, but it's not enough. Lucas Stiefenhagen wins race number 3 of the weekend as well. Maxim Dacha in second. Patricia Stalizzana in third. Benjamin Mazatis in that chasing pack through all of that ends up somewhere in P4. Julian Wörtele in P5. Philip Dietrich all the way down in P6, and for a man second in the championship. That is a horrible, horrible weekend finally coming to an end. Lucas Stiefenhagen played the waiting game, was smart, something that he missed last season. He really seemed to have picked that up this season. Patricia did have a look up the inside, couldn't quite complete the move, and then the push to pass came into effect for the two in front of her, and Maxim Dacha and Lucas Stiefenhagen pulled clear. There's that moment. I think Benjamin Mazatis passed both Philip Dietrich and Julian Wörtele on the last lap with push to pass. Everyone's standing up. Put your hands together for these 18 gladiators, because they have provided you with some of the best racing action you've seen this weekend, if not the best. Lucas Stiefenhagen obviously extremely happy with another win this weekend.
Yeah, that was amazing. 3 amazing races then, and I can't wait to be back at Nürburgring in only a few weeks.
Yeah, in about 2 to 3 weeks from now, we'll be back at the Nürburgring. That weekend will be on the 8th to the 10th of August. First, though, let's look at the result for race number 3 here at the Norisring. Lucas Stiefenhagen wins ahead of Maxim Dacha. Gap in the end at 10th. Patricia Stalizzana picking up another 3rd place. Podium for her. Benjamin Mazatis in 4th, that of Julian Wörtele in 5th. Philip Dietrich in 6th, that of Alice Gustafsson in 7th. Chanter in 8th, ahead of Olaf Vai in 9th. And Lennart Wolf finishing in 10th. Siri Hökveld just outside the top 10 this time round. We saw that she had contact with Bennett Earl, who finished last in this race. Vivian Earl in 12th, ahead of Andreas Kapfinger in 13th. Here's Lucas Stiefenhagen, visibly happy with that. Look at the gap in the championship. Came into this weekend with a gap of 4 points in the championship. Leaves the weekend with a gap of 61 points in the championship, going into the weekend at the Nürburgring. Here's Patricia picking up another podium this weekend. A hard-fought one. Maxim Dacha will feel hard done by, but for him, it's a 2nd place in the championship, leaving the Norisring. That's one better than he entered it. And here's the car that gave him those victories. The ABB car, the car of choice this weekend for Lukas Stiefelhagen. And for him, it treated him extremely nicely. 3 wins on the bounce. And with that, he equals the record from Kelvin de Groot. You can see what it means to Lukas Stiefelhagen. None of these races were really an easy victory. Gaps always under a tenth. Or just over it. Well, that's the voice they all want to hear. That's the voice of Toby, who's gonna announce the podium finishes. And just like yesterday in race number 1, our first driver being urged onto the podium is Patricia Stalizzane. Another podium finish for her, her first or her 4th one in the series, and her 2nd time on P3. Second place driver, once again, just like yesterday in race number 1, Maxim Dacha. And to complete the exact same podium we had in race number 1 yesterday is for the 3rd time this weekend, Lukas Stiefelhagen. It's an incredible weekend for him. Extends his lead in the championship to 61 points. And I hope you're not bored of it, because for the 3rd time this weekend, it's the Dutch national anthem.
NXT Gen Cup.
Well then, handing out the trophies for the 3rd race of this weekend with the GoPro around him. So we get some nice shots of the trophies being handed out. It's one of our engineers. And first trophy, of course, goes to our 3rd place finisher, Patricia Stalizzane. For the 2nd time this weekend, she takes that trophy home. Maxim Dacha takes a 2nd place, and he'll take that after yesterday's horror race with a 10-second time penalty after a great comeback. And Lukas Stiefelhagen will complete his triple this weekend with another victory and another 1st place trophy. Sebastian, the next-gen photographer, taking the last podium pictures of the weekend. And after that, it's finally time for champagne. And it's finally time for some proper celebrations. And Lukas Stiefelhagen is the one they aim at. We'll be back the NXT Gen Cup, the 8th to the 10th of August at the Nürburgring. Thank you so much for being here this weekend. And thank you so much for watching along at home. Thank you so much to the production team in the background. And we'll see you at the Nürburgring. Goodbye.
Time. This is victory. We are the chosen ones, we're making history. We'll show you what we got, give everything we have. Every sweat, blood and tear, every last breath. We put up a fight until the last man, until the last day, until our last dance. We are here giving everything and more. To seize the opportunity, you know that we will score. This is victory.